We're going to call this regular session of the Columbia County Board of Education to order. We welcome all who are here in presence this evening. On behalf of the board, Superintendent Flint, we appreciate your presence and involvement with the school district. Our regularly scheduled board meetings are a time for the Board of Education, the superintendent, selected staff to conduct important business of the school district within a transparent public format. To ensure our meeting goes smoothly and efficiently, we ask that everyone maintain an appropriate level of decorum at all times. Please abstain from any conduct that would be disruptive or disrespectful. We ask our students, families, and those who joined us this evening to celebrate special recognitions or recommendations to remain until all acknowledgments and our board comments have been made. After that, we'll take a short break and dismiss those participating in this portion of the meeting if you wish to leave. At this time, please silence your cell phones or other communication devices. Next, for our invocation, I would like to call upon Christ Church Presbyterian Associate Pastor Ryan Bigham to lead the invocation. Pastor.
I'd like to thank you for this wonderful privilege and opportunity to lead us before the throne of grace in prayer in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. I would invite you all, would you pray with me? Almighty God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, you alone are God. Earnestly we seek you, for you are the living and true God. All other gods are idols made of gold and silver and vain imaginations, and are vanity and a lie. But you, O God of hosts, your name endures forever, and your renown through all generations. All glory and honor is due unto you, and that alone. God of heaven, we do in this moment humbly ask that you would forgive us, for we have set our minds on things of this world more than on things of your Holy Spirit. We have not set our sights on things above where Christ is, seated in heavenly places. But we have set our minds, our hearts, our affections on the things of this world. But we thank you that you are a gracious and merciful God who delights to show mercy. And we bless you that while we have not served you as we ought, and we have sinned against your holy law, that you have sent your beloved Son to be the atoning sacrifice for our sins, that we might be reconciled to you by his work on the cross, as we receive it by faith. What great mercy you have shown unto us. What love you have lavished upon us even while we were undeserving of it. And we thank you now for the privilege to come and beseech you for your mercies and your graces. And so now we pray according to your abundant mercy. Hear our prayer this evening as we seek the good of our county, our students, our town, our state, even our nation. We humbly ask this evening for wisdom. Wisdom for all those who would serve our children through their education. We pray grant this board guidance according to your holy word, that they might seek to train their students in knowledge, but also in righteousness and holiness. Make each of these board members to be wise, not in their own minds and esteem, but according to your scriptures, which are able to make us wise unto salvation. And by their leadership, as well as by the service of our teachers and our staff, may our students grow to love true knowledge and seek to glorify you with their minds in their learning. Lord, we thank you that you have assured us in your word that whatever we ask you in Christ's name, you will give it to us. Therefore, we ask all of these things in that name, that powerful name that is above every name, the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. To him we be glory forever. Amen. Amen.
Next, we are honored to have the Greenbrier High School Navy JROTC cadets here this evening to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. They'll come in for a moment. I'd like to introduce them before they. If you'll stop right there for a minute. I want to recognize you before you begin. Sophia Dodd, just raise your hand. Sophia Dodd, Alex Owens, Jasmine Passmore, Sophie Passmore, and Kennedy Tanksley. Give these cadets a big hand. Let's all stand for presentation of the colors.
Ready. Move. Freezing. Colors.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here. Colors. Ready. Cut. Ready. Move.
Maybe see. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. All in favor, raise your hand. All right, it's unanimous. Thank you, board members. Next, I'll turn it over to Superintendent Flynn for special recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, board members, and good evening to all of our special guests, and thank you for being here this evening. We have a little bit smaller space because, as you know, we still have voting going on next door, but y'all filled the space really well. It looks great. We are looking forward to honoring you and celebrating with you today. We've got a number of special recognitions we're excited about. We also have a special recommendation that'll come up after that, and then we'll take a short break. So I'd like to ask Dr. Carroll if she could come forward and help with the first portion of the special recognition so I can give out some of the certificates. Dr. Carroll.
Good evening. Thank you for being here this evening to share these special recognitions. To the principals, students, and advisors being honored tonight, please come forward when you're called and remain until a photo is taken. For all the family members here to support these wonderful students tonight, we ask that you please stand as well as we recognize when your students called. We're excited to recognize our high schools for being named Advanced Placement Honor Schools once again. On May 8, 2026, State School Superintendent Fisher Woods named 273 Advanced Placement Honor Schools from 97 school districts for 2026. The 2026 AP Honor Schools are named in 8 categories based on the results of 2025 AP courses and exams. AP exams are administered by the College Board. AP courses are one of several ways Georgia students can access college-level learning while in high school. Georgia ranks in the top third nationally for the percentage of students passing AP exams, according to data released from the College Board this year. Georgia Department of Education began recognizing AP Honor Schools in 2008. The Columbia County School District is pleased to announce the AP Honor Schools. Principals, as your school is called, please come forward and remain until all schools are announced. We ask that you hold all applause until each school has been recognized. From Evans High School, we have Principal Wade White and Assistant Principal Rusty James. They're being recognized for the AP Humanities Achievement School, AP Distinction School, AP STEM School, and AP STEM Achievement School. Next is Greenbrier High School with Principal Dr. Mike Jones. They're being recognized for AP Humanities School, AP Distinction School, AP STEM School, and AP STEM Achievement School. Next for Grovetown High School, Mr. Andrew Young, Principal. Being recognized for AP Access and Support School, AP Humanities School, AP Humanities Achievement School, AP STEM School, and AP STEM Achievement School. For Harlem High School, Principal Maria Knight. AP Distinction School. And Lakeside High School, Principal Juliet King. AP Humanities School, AP Humanities Achievement School, AP Distinction School, AP STEM School, and AP STEM Achievement School. Congratulations to all of our AP honors. Our next recognition for the evening goes to the Columbia County Foundation for Children. For more than 30 years, this organization has supported children and families in Columbia County through a range of programs and services. In the 25-26 school year, they awarded $37,500 in CTA grants and $46,000 in college scholarships, while also providing assistance through their benevolence program. They supported 529 children during the Christmas program, contributed to the Panther Pantry, distributed fresh food and gift cards to families. Additional efforts included the Motivating Mentor Award, book fair scholarships, hygiene support through their pantry project, and free clothing was provided through their thrift store, which also helps fund their mission. This year's Motivating Mentor Award goes to Lieutenant Colonel Samson Sider with Harlem High School. Please come forward. For our board members, please come forward when I call your name. Karia Jeffries, President. Dorothy Brandon, Vice President. Adam Williams, Treasurer. Claire Bethune, Secretary. Robert Kelly, Board Member. Tawana Bruce, Board Member. Donna Lee, Board Member and Thrift Store Manager. And Susan Pitcher, Special Programs Coordinator. We would like to thank the Columbia County Foundation for Children for your contribution to support our school district students and their families. Our next recognitions this evening go to the boys and girls track and field teams. Students and coaches being honored tonight, please come forward when you are called and remain until a photo is taken. Family members, again, we ask that you please stand so we may recognize you as well. We're excited to recognize several outstanding student athletes for their exceptional accomplishments during the 2026 GHSA 5A and 6A Track and Field State Championships held at the University of Georgia Speck Towns Track Complex in Athens, Georgia. To qualify, athletes must first compete in the regional and sectional meets and finish in the top 4 regionals and top 8 at sectionals. There are 8 different regions consisting of 8 to 12 teams in each region. And each section has 4 different regions competing against hundreds of the top track and field athletes from across the state of Georgia. These students demonstrated dedication, discipline, sportsmanship, and excellence both on and off the field, representing our schools and community with pride. All right, for the 5A Individual State Championship competition from Evans High School, second place in the girls 1600 meter run, Liliana Beamer. First place and state champion in boys long jump, Jeremy Howard. Our head coach is Ryan Bennett. Assistant coaches Cheryl Flowers, and Roy Wright. We also have Principal Ray White and Athletic Director Marcus Diggs here with us tonight. Continuing on with our 5A individual state championship competition from Greenbrier High School. Third place in the girls' 200-meter dash, Brianna Remus.
I'm so sorry.
And from the girls' state team championship competition, runner-up 4x100 meter and 4x200 meter team relays, Amarie Burns. Naisa Marias. Taylor McCoy. And again, Brianna Remus. Head coach is Christopher Cutler. Several assistant coaches supporting this team. Donnell Bradley. Paul Moore, Amber Palermo, Wanda Reed, Chris White, and George Whitmire. Principal Dr. Mike Jones, Dr. Jason Osborne. Up next from Grovetown High School for the 6A Boys Individual State Championship Competition. Third place boys 800-meter run with a time of 1 minute 54 seconds. He set a new school record in Grovetown history. Brian Story. Head coach Corey Flournoy. Principal Andrew Young. I believe that should read 1 second. From Lakeside High School for the 5A individual state championship, third place in the girls' 200-meter dash, Zion Bulliard. For the 2026 5A girls track and field high point total champion, girls long jump state champion, runner-up in girls 300-meter hurdles, third place in girls 100-meter hurdles, Valencia Calhoun. Third place shot put, Asia Hawkins. Third place boys pole vault, Andrew Phillips. Then from the 5 2028 Girls State Team Championship. Third place 4x400 meter girls relay team, Zion Gouliard. Valencia Calhoun. Caitlin Dale. Taylor Jones. And then third place overall girls track and field team points, Eliana Benavides. Zion Gouliard. Valencia Calhoun. Isabella Cardona Mendez. Leland Dale. Adele Gross. Asia Hawkins. Hannah James. Jones. Kimberly Mullins. Ella Catherine Williams. And Grace Williams. Head coach Catherine Norwood. And principal Juliet King. As we continue tonight, we are pleased to recognize the National Beta Club State Service Leaderboard Award for Harlem High School. The National Beta Club is a prestigious club that has been around since 1934. They foster leadership, academics, character, and service in many avenues. One of the requirements and expectations of the National Beta Club is to serve others. The Harlem High School Beta Club's dedication to serving others placed their club in the top 5 clubs in the state of Georgia for completed service hours. And as a result, they won the National Beta Club State Service Leaderboard Award. The Harlem High School Beta Club volunteered their time at various places and events, and for a variety of purposes for the entire school year, truly embracing the National Beta motto, "Let us lead by serving others." Their club logged 9,163 hours this past school year, which placed them among the highest performing service leaders in the state of Georgia. All right, we have Principal Maria Knight. And Lisa Wilson. Congratulations, Harlem High, for your National Beta Club Service Leadership Award. Next, we have the National Beta Club School of Merit for Greenbrier Middle School. Greenbrier Middle School has proudly earned the National Beta School of Merit Award, a distinguished honor that highlights the school's unwavering commitment to academic excellence. This award, presented by the National Beta Club, recognizes schools that not only uphold the highest standards of scholarship, but also embody the 4 pillars of Beta: achievement, character, leadership, and service. To receive this prestigious recognition, Greenbrier Middle School's Beta Club welcomed members from every grade level. This all-encompassing approach reflects the school's dedication to fostering a unified culture where every student is encouraged to lead, achieve, and serve. By nurturing Beta Club members across all grade levels, Greenbrier Middle School demonstrates its ongoing commitment to developing tomorrow's leaders. The National Beta Club School of Merit Award is a testament to the hard work and dedication of the students, staff, and administration who strive to make academic excellence and leadership a hallmark of the school community. Come forward, please, Principal Tony Fyatt. Jennifer Sherrouse.
turn it back over to Dr. Flynn for some special recommendations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to special recommendations, and this evening we have one to present to the board. This is when we have new leaders selected in the district, and we like to bring them in front of special recognitions, and then have the board ask any questions or provide them the approval that is required. So this evening, I'd like to call forward our candidate for Grovetown High School Assistant Principal, Jesse Russell Russ Winter. So you get to stand here. You might not have seen these before. You can face this way because I'm going to tell everybody a little bit about you. I know it's kind of nerve-wracking, but it's going to be okay because there's a lot of exciting stuff here. Mr. Winter holds a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics from Georgia Southern University, a Master of Arts in Teaching from Georgia Regents University, and he's currently pursuing an Educational Specialist degree in Educational Leadership at Augusta University. Mr. Winter began his career in education as a long-term substitute teacher in the Columbia County School District. In 2013, he accepted a teaching position at Harlem High School, where he taught mathematics while also serving as the head varsity cross-country coach, assistant varsity baseball coach, and women's head varsity basketball coach. In 2015, he accepted a position at Statesboro High School, where he continued teaching mathematics, served as a team leader, and worked as the assistant varsity baseball coach. Mr. Winter later transferred to Cordell Middle School in 2019 to become their mathematics teacher, and he can join you. It's absolutely it's permitted. It's okay. This makes it even better. And served as the head of the math department and head varsity baseball coach. In 2020, Mr. Winter accepted an assistant principal position at Bryan County High School, where he later transferred to Bryan County Middle High School as their assistant principal for grades 6 through 12. And in 2023, he was promoted to principal of that school, a role where he currently serves. Let me tell you about a few of the folks joining him. And I think there's some other folks in here too that I saw come in, so I'll let everybody stand. But his wife, Miranda, if you could stand. His sons, Russell and George. And then we have some other family members. All of y'all stand up if you're here supporting Russ. Board members, we presented to you our candidate for Grovetown High Assistant Principal, Mr. Russ Winter.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to second. You are extremely qualified. We want to welcome you back. All in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. You're approved, and just look forward to seeing you continue.
This is going to be a great story. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Superintendent. Wonderful recommendations and recommendations. Now our board would love to respond briefly before we take a short break. Let me start with Ms. Judy Teasley.
Well, welcome to Mr. Winter, and I think you need to get a little in there enrolled in some classes to build his confidence. He's obviously very shy. And the rest of you are obviously very shy as well. You're kind of holding back on your performances, we can tell. To those of you who are not accustomed to being at board meetings this time of year, don't think that these students are here because they are slow in getting here. The only students that show up at June board meetings are those who are the best of the best. They have completed well at state meets, and so they get their recognition late in the year. So we are very proud of them. I'm certain some of them are seniors because we've seen them here for year after year. We hate to lose them. Hopefully some of you are not seniors and will be seeing you again in years to come. We thank you to the parents, to the teachers, the sponsors, the administrators, what you do to help these kids reach these levels of achievement. We obviously can't pay you for it, but we certainly do appreciate it. It's good work. We thank you to the staff here, at Hereford Farm. We appreciate all that you do for us. We appreciate that. We are blessed.
Thank you, Ms. Teasley. Ms. Christy Baker.
Oh my goodness, thank y'all so much for being here. Pastor, thank you for opening us up in prayer. We appreciate that so much. To Mr. Winter and your wonderful family, I think it should be something on the board, maybe policy, that I have to hold the babies when I speak, because like, yeah, thank goodness I'm past the baby age, but I would definitely be taking your baby home. Or be having more. So thank you so much for coming back to Columbia County. We look forward to seeing great things for you. And great to see your family. I hope they grow in the county and just we see them up here in years to come, accepting some of these awards. To our high schools and for your AP honors, I remember back in the day when my kids were in school and there was only like one AP class. So to see the progress that we've made in our AP programs in our high schools and to see all of them having a great achievement, I do just want to recognize our principals and our staff and the students who have taken that challenge with academics, and I do appreciate all the work that goes into it. It does not go unnoticed, and we do appreciate it. So keep up the good work in our high schools. Track and the foundation, thank you so much for what you do. I do appreciate that so much, and all that you give, and the volunteer hours and the time you commit to giving back to our students and our teachers. We do appreciate that. Thank you so much. I know it doesn't look like this because I'm a little older, but I did run track in high school. I think I could have been good if I practiced. So I think I was pretty good. I would like to go back behind the scoreboard, just sit down and rest, and then run every now and then. It looked like I was running. So I think I could have been good, but you know, it was a long time ago. I actually did hurdles. And we have a picture of the yearbook. I'm blowing the bubble when I'm running. You know, but for me, I was doing the bubble while I was going up the hurdle. But anyhow, thank you for what you do. It's a dedication that y'all give back to both academics and your athletic programs. Running is something that I think you can take with you wherever you go. It's a great sport. It's a lot of time that you commit to doing this. It's a lot of personal goals. You have to be pretty smart to be able to keep up with the levels that y'all are doing. And I do appreciate all that you do and the dedication. Your coaches that push you probably to those levels where you don't think you can do it, but you continue to exceed. So thank you so much. And parents, thank you for supporting all the students.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. Mr. Bill Kent.
Anything to be proud of. I love that when people come during the summer months like this. I think we struck gold right here with Mr. Winter, for sure. I think it speaks volumes, too, when someone has his credentials and serves as a principal, comes to Columbia County, and serves as an assistant principal. I'm excited to see what happens with you, for sure. So congratulations. Congratulations, AP Honor Schools. Future accomplishments, Foundation for Children. It'll be great work, clearly. State championship, this was awesome being in Athens, at UGA, and those facilities. That had to be a treat, a real treat. On that blue ribbon, that long jump, what was the measurement on that? Was that Jeremy? 20. How tall are you? 5'8", 23. That's amazing. That's Superman right there. National Beta Club, congratulations there. I can go on and on. I was looking at the public participation list, and it's pretty long. Again, the summer months. It's awesome to see you all come out, particularly some new names. I mean, without you, this doesn't work. What we're doing, we have to hear from you. So I just want to kind of do a little shout out to y'all. Thank you for coming and signing up for this.
Thank you, Mr. Kent. And Ms. Katie Allen.
Pastor Ryan, thank you so much for just the passion behind that prayer. It was really encouraging, so thank you for that. To our AP Honor Schools, I know so much goes into that, far beyond the few moments we get to recognize you here, so thank you for all the leadership that goes into teaching those students to help get those results, and also the families and parents and the students themselves who aren't here, but the work that goes into it. To our athletes, I love sports. I didn't always love sports. I was track as well. And I think why I love sports is because I'll never forget in 8th grade I could not run a mile without stopping. And I feared the mile test every year. I don't know if y'all still do that or those who remember it, but I ended up making myself sign up for track in high school because I was tired of being so terrible at something and fearing it. And through the coaching, through the team, through the camaraderie, I ended up doing track all 4 years. It was the highlight of my high school career, and then I joined the Army and ran more, and I still run to this day. And when I hear and see student athletes, it gives such a sense of pride, because I know that you're going through the same thing of where you're seeing that you put your mind to something hard, you stick with it, you finish that race, and that mindset applies to so many things in life. It applies to a difficult college class, a difficult time period. So not just congratulations on excelling in your athleticism, but also in the beauty of the mindset that you're getting with it through your hard work. So thank you for that, and thank you for applying it to your school and your studies. And it's such a wonderful thing. Beta Club, I know they couldn't be here, my daughter's on that trip right now, but just from her being in and out of the house, constantly volunteering, I know they are busy giving back to the community. So thank you for all the Beta Club students and leaders. And Mr. Waters, you are a shining example of the beauty of family and children, and so we're so glad that you're bringing that to our district. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, that concludes this portion of our meeting, and so we'll take a short break if anyone would like to excuse themselves. Back over to Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this point in the agenda, we'll move on to approval of consent items. This time we recommend approval as listed.
All right, I understand from Ms. Allen, she has a question about the April financials.
We can remove that, if requested, and then move on with approval of the other items.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve consent items 8A, B, A, B, D, April financials is C. I'm sorry, I'm looking at mine.
Motion that we approve A, C, D, E, F, and G.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand.
I just wanted a second, why is your agenda different than ours?
Because they prepare a little script for me, and sometimes it gets out of order.
Gotcha.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve those consent items with the exception of B. Everybody in favor, raise your right hand. All right, now, Ms. Allen, for any questions?
Sure, I just noticed that the budget for the state sources, the budget revenue was revised from 220.6 million to about 226 million. What was that extra 6 million for? This was between March and April, since we're a month behind on financials.
I believe that would have been for the state revenue we received for the supplement, the one-time supplement for employees. We did an amendment for that back a few months ago. Once we received it, knew what the dollar amount would be and paid it out. So we did a revenue and expenditure amendment to cover that and the increased cost for that supplement.
Thank you. I know it's always hard when we're going backwards in time. And my other question was for the building program financials for the SPLOST 2017 to 2022. Between March and April, the furniture budget towards the end of that report went from 3 million to 3.5 million. What was the reason for that additional $500,000 in the budget?
Allocating those additional funds based on the furniture bid that had been approved at the meeting before that. And so just making sure that line item up to cover that on top of what else we've already previously planned for there.
So since the furniture bid was over by a certain amount, we adjusted the budget to accommodate that?
It was just taking unallocated funds from the building program for that cycle, if you will, that SPLOST cycle, and putting it specifically to that line because we had appropriated funds for that expenditure.
All right, thank you. Those are my questions.
You're welcome.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve 8B on the consent items? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, the April financials are approved. turn it back over to Superintendent.
We will continue the conversation around finances, and I'll turn it over fully to Mr. Casado, our CFO, to take us through the updated and looking for final approval of the FY27 budget. Mr. Casado.
Good evening. So a little bit of a different, shorter presentation. As we recall, we've been through an initial presentation. We conducted the 2 public input meetings. And so we just condensed this down to kind of get to the meat of the matter, and those are the slides you'll see before you. And I'm pleased to bring you this budget with a few updates for your consideration. And these updates were based on conversations we've had in previous meetings, feedback, things of that nature. So this is the last budget version that we left you with at the end of our previous presentation. As a reminder, this budget version included adjustments to revenues and expenditures for the new fiscal year. Notably, the general fund revenue budget included a QBE estimate as well as a 3% increase in property tax revenue. We don't still yet have not received any figures on that, so that still remains. General fund expenditures included known adjustments for state benefits, staffing levels, department needs, a 3% cost of living adjustment for employees. We did leave a placeholder of approximately $10.6 million down there at the bottom for that cost of living adjustment and some other needed budget improvements that we presented. It also included a $20 million transfer to the building program to expedite a list of projects that have been provided to you as well. The school nutrition fund included an adjustment to revenue for proposed paid meal increases. However, I'd like to take you through some known budget changes since our last meeting, as well as those updated recommendations. Since our last meeting, we received actual QBE numbers from the state for next year, and we're notified about several one-time grants that were funded for next fiscal year. The effect of all of these resulted in a $2.785 million increase in general fund state revenue for next fiscal year, so that's good news there. Then when we look at the summary of expenditure changes for the general fund, an increase from the 3% originally recommended to 5% at a cost of around $5.5 million to the budget. We also received feedback regarding paid meal prices, and we are recommending increasing paid lunches to $3.75 instead of $4 as originally presented for next year. And as discussed, though, we will need to continue to look at this and revisit this each year. That does reduce the revenue for school nutrition by a couple $100,000. So just updated those figures accordingly there for you. And after incorporating the items previously listed as improvements into the actual numbers of the budget, adjusting to the 5% cost of living, and reducing the paid meal price increase, this is an updated budget for FY27. It decreases the projected ending FY27 general fund balance to $83.89 million from $86.6 million. So because of that additional state revenue, the net cost for that was only about $3 million instead of $5.5 million. So at this time, we ask that you consider this budget version for final approval for the 26-27 school year.
I'll make a motion that we set this budget for final approval.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjust the transfer from the general fund to the building fund to an amount of $10 million. Have a second?
All right, there's a motion on the floor to approve the final budget. I'm considering his motion a motion to go ahead. But all right, so the question is, do you have a second? If you don't, then Kels will have a second.
Do we need to close the motion on the table out before making a new motion?
No, considering a motion to amend the motion. Does that make sense?
I second it. we should open up discussion.
Any discussion about amending the motion to approve the final vote, reducing what?
The $10 million transfer from the general fund to building. The reason that I recommend doing so is that I have a problem, I've had it for some time. We're going into both pockets of the taxpayer for a building program. I realize that there are times when transferring money out of the general fund is appropriate and needed. But I don't believe that this is the time or place to do it. We've made it a common occurrence to do this over multiple years. I think this would put it up to close to 80 million. Mr. Casada, is that about right, if we approve 20 million?
I believe so.
And I don't like making that a common occurrence. We have SWAs for a reason, and to go into the property taxes and also pay for the building fund is a problem for me. I think it's a problem for a lot of my constituents who I've spoken to. We are in 5 years into a 10-year building program. We have spent essentially what we said we wanted to spend for 10 years in 5 years. That is a problem for me. We have to pivot. And I encourage the rest of the board members to consider pivoting. When I say pivoting, that doesn't mean Philip Kenneth, District 1 board member is against the building program. Okay, that is not at all. I want the building program. I believe that the board members that are here, majority of them here, have been able to oversee the current building program for the last 5 years. We have 10 more. I think it's only fair when we have a new board that's coming on board January 1, that they have an opportunity to talk about and discuss what's going to happen for the next 5 years of the building program. We all know about the pandemic. We all know what we went through with COVID. We know that inflation hit pretty hard. Things changed when we decided to enter into this building program on day one. If I was sitting in this chair and day one when we devised this building program, I would have been all in favor of it, 100%. But when things change drastically and we can't catch up with inflation, we're putting a building program in front of teachers' pays, and that's what we've kind of done. It creates a problem when we have a running list of maintenance things, and oh, you're going to get a building improvement, a major building overhaul, hold on tight. It creates problems for me, and I understand. And other schools that haven't been rebuilt yet, and they look at Lakeside or they look at Evans, which are beautiful schools that are a magnificent job, they're awful places. But when you look at this, where's my renovation? Where's my add-on? Why did they get the Performing Arts Center and we haven't gotten it yet? Is Philip up here saying we don't want to have it? No, absolutely not. You deserve to have it. Absolutely. We built projects. We haven't finished some and we started others. I just think that we need to reassess, like I've mentioned in past board meetings, what we're doing here. $20 million is quite a bit out of a general fund towards a building program. It raises some flags for me. Why do we need to do this? What have we been putting off? What have we not been doing? Have we overstepped our bounds on what we're doing with this building program? I'd like, in the essence of compromise, if you will, with the rest of my board members, while I think it should be much less than that out of the general fund and transfer, I'm entertaining this motion to go somewhere in the middle at $10 million. If for some reason we decide as a board that the superintendent says that we need additional dollars up to the $20 million, come to us and ask for it. And give us a good reason, which I know you will, and then we will discuss additional transfers. Anyone else like to share your comments?
Yes, I'd like to jump in on that. I just want to clarify that based on the list that we received, that $20 million, and it says 20.9, just for clarification, that 900,000 gets transferred to the workers' compensation fund. So when we say 20 million, it's a little bit broken up. But that 20 million, according to the list that we were given for how that will be allocated, that is not, based on the list we were given, going to be used for Greenbrier or Harlem. So not doing that transfer should not affect the Greenbrier or Harlem projects. If it is going to affect those projects, then we have another conversation to have as to why we need to transfer money when we just receive bonds for those projects. My second concern is that this list of maintenance that we need $20 million for to justify this transfer to the SWAS general or building fund includes maintenance things such as painting schools, replacing carpets, fire alarm systems, drinking fountains. These are routine maintenance items. And when I look at our maintenance and operations budget, it's at $39.8 million. 5 years ago, just for comparison, 5 years ago, it was at $21.8 million 5 years ago. So we have already nearly doubled that budget. And I had asked at a previous meeting for a breakdown of what that's covering, because if we need another $20 million, we need to have a conversation on why our maintenance and operations at such an exorbitant level. I did not receive those answers. So now I'm being asked to make a decision on transferring money when I did not receive those answers. On the second point of answers and the information I did not receive that I'd asked for is, in preparation for this vote, I requested the projected amounts to be spent for the high school projects over the next 3 fiscal years. I already have FY27, I need 28 and 29. We have major projects that are starting, and if we can't look at our budget and give an estimate as to what we plan to spend for these projects over the next 3 fiscal years, that's also a bigger problem, and transferring $20 million over to another account without figuring that problem out, we need to have a conversation. But I'm with Mr. Kent in the sense that we need to be speaking about this, hence my second. I think that number needs to be at $900,000. And if we need more money for the building fund for any reason, as a board, we can approve that item by item throughout the year and make that determination. And in the meantime, let's just keep the general fund budget separate from the building fund so that we're not double dipping, as Mr. Kent has said, and so that we can have oversight as to why we keep having to supplement our building fund. Now, my numbers, I went through my numbers at the previous 2 budget hearings. For those who are interested, you can go back and re-listen to those. I've already shared the concern. Our financial audits show that the 2022 eSPLOS program was originally estimated at $160 million. Currently, or in the most recent financial document for 2025, the current estimated costs are $313.5 million. That money's coming from somewhere. If we're spending $313 million, that's coming from somewhere. I think this is where it's coming from in the general fund. And what that means is come millage rate time, something's got to give. It's a formula. Those are my comments. I cannot approve this budget with a $20 million transfer because I have not had my financial questions answered. And I'm being told that those numbers don't exist, which is an even bigger problem.
Okay, anyone else?
Yes, I think that list was pretty daunting when I first looked at it. And I had, it is right, and I said it was sort of daunting. 20 million is always a daunting number to me. But then I realized it's part of the building program. It's phase 3. And as we knew from the beginning, the phases were not going to be done in numerical order. But we're not going to wait until phase 1 was completed to do phase 2, or phase 2 was completed to do phase 3. They would be done simultaneously. So we're not waiting until 1 and 2 are done to tackle 3, and the situation is worse. Do I have that right? Okay. So if we transfer $20 million at this point in time, where does that leave our reserve fund?
As it showed there, so 83.8 million, which we always like to look at it as a percent, which is right below 20. So you're still you're within your
So we have
levels.
we have emergency funds. Okay, is that going to make the state happy with the amount that we normally keep in there?
Yes. I don't know what makes the state happy, but it's within that new 25%
Well, I keep hearing different
that they
numbers.
put in that law.
So are you comfortable with that number, that percentage amount that would be in the reserve fund?
20% is a very good reserve for a school district.
Okay.
Yeah, this list of building needs that was prepared by our what department particularly?
It was both facilities and
Facility maintenance.
But
Yeah.
remember, that is part of the 10-year.
Right, and our eSPLOS revenues are not sufficient to cover all of our building needs. Am I correct?
They were never intended to be, were they?
And is it unusual for school districts to use general fund money to maintain their capital for buildings?
No, and it was the only way school districts could before eSPLOS, the law in the 80s, I think, the 90s was passed, 96.
And refresh my memory, the money we get from the state originally comes from where?
In QE,
Oh, yes, QB, where do QBE funds come from?
tax money.
Tax money, which comes from,
taxpayers.
Right, okay, the money we get from property tax comes from,
Property tax owners?
which comes from taxpayers.
Taxpayers.
So all of our money comes from taxpayers, right?
Yes.
So, any other comments before we call the question?
Dr. Flint, or Mr. Casada, what is our, for the building program, I know they've mentioned Greenbrier and the projects we have for there, where, if the 20 million is not approved, and then Ms. Allen stated that it's part of that, can you just give us a little more information on her comment as far as how that affects the Greenbrier project, if the 10 million, or no, if the 10 million is accepted and not the 20 million?
There's no effect to Greenbrier. We, as you recall, sold bonds specifically for that project, and that money is in the bank, ready to go.
I think what would happen would be, someone would have to pick and choose which of these projects could be done this year, and which ones would have to be put off until next year, or the next year,
Correct.
or the next year.
It would
delay anything.
It would delay half these projects.
And we really shouldn't be in this position, I don't think. I think we sort of put ourselves in this position, and it's unfortunate.
No, we didn't put ourselves in these positions. Let's review for just 1 second.
Please.
Okay, for a number of years, we were busy building a school a year or 2 schools a year. So major maintenance like painting, things that were not an absolute necessity. If the air conditioning was work, it was not upgraded. Okay, we didn't necessarily keep up with things that would be beneficial, that would keep it from being a greater expense later because we were opening schools. For instance, the year Greenbrier opened in '96, we opened 3, as I recall, Greenbrier Middle, Greenbrier High, Greenbrier Elementary, and Uchi Creek. Somebody check that, I might be wrong. So, I mean, we were building new schools. So we were doing a bare minimum of maintenance on existing schools. Okay, since in recent times, we have been rebuilding 50-year-old schools. Okay, we're still doing maintenance as we can, but part of the building program is to actually now do maintenance on a much larger scale that has been overlooked in the past. So it's not like we have been ignoring anything. We've been doing as much as we can for as long as we can, and now it's time to get to basic needs of maintenance on a larger scale.
I like programs. I like spending money on programs that are very important to the schools. I think the teachers want that too. I like spending money on the teachers when they need to pay. I think putting a slight pivot in the building program, I love the building program, but it needs to be adjusted slightly, does not hamper our ability in any way. And it actually frees up some money to do some maintenance on some things that we need to do to cut down on that list. So your argument is just not convincing me, unfortunately.
I never thought I would.
More points of rebuttal before we move on. East Bluff's revenues are not sufficient. I want to address that comment because when we brought the building program to the community, the belief was that the East Bluff monies would be sufficient. The fact that they are no longer sufficient means that something changed. From my numbers and from what our audit report says, what changed was we went over budget. We spent more on schools than we had coming in through East Bluff, and then we had to start supplementing from the general fund. That's contrary to the spirit of the East Bluff law, which says we're freeing up the general fund due to this other revenue. But if you get that other revenue and then you increase your spending, all you're doing is you're now having 2 sources of revenue as you expand beyond your budget. Third of all, the phase 3 plan was East Bluff's dollars. So now to say we have to dip into the general fund to do phase 3 again shows a problem. I do not understand, I have not received answers yet as to why our maintenance budget has nearly doubled in 5 years, yet we have not been able to keep up with maintenance projects. Where's that money going?
The cost of
This is
maintenance.
why I asked, I need these answers.
I think, and I can, without running the, very specifics, of all those categories up there, you look at them, I feel pretty confident in saying that maintenance and operations is your one that has been influenced or impacted the most by all the inflation we have been seeing since COVID, and we keep talking about that. So all those same things we've seen in construction, many of those same things, tariffs, all the HVAC, all those things have gone sky high, and that's reflected in this budget too. Also the efforts, our custodians are in there, and we have made some custodial pay adjustments over the last few years. We've added more custodians to try to get our numbers back. to where they were pre-COVID, and even during the Great Recession, we were still lower than we were then. So I think that is part of the answer as well. Property insurance, which is in that function, has gone double probably for the school district, not because of the new buildings, but because it's double for me personally, and probably most of us sitting up here on our own homes in that time frame as well. So just off the top of my head, at a very general broad level, I think that's the reason why you see that function in particular growing maybe more than you are seeing the others.
Yes, I have one last question.
Yes.
Okay, money that's in the reserve fund is drawing good interest, I assume?
Absolutely.
Okay, if we transfer it to the building fund, will we lose interest?
No.
Okay, so we'll still draw interest there?
So general fund will lose the interest the money would have earned in the general fund, but the building program will earn the interest, but it'll be earning the same amount of money, if you will, because it's all the same investment group.
All right, now let's vote on Mr. Kent's motion to amend. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, raise your right hand. All right, Mr. Kent's motion to amend fails.
I make a motion to amend.
Fails 4-1. So the motion on the floor now is to approve the final budget.
So I make a motion to amend this budget with a different amendment to outgoing transfers be $900,000.
You second that? Okay. Any further discussion?
I think this would reflect a compromise where we are open to transferring this money in the future, project by project, as we have discussions. And hopefully, as a board member, I can receive the financial information I need so that I can participate in those discussions moving further, because it is not proper, especially in light of our recent GSBA training, financial training, to expect board members to make decisions of this magnitude when their financial questions have not been answered and they have not been provided the information that they have specifically requested to make this decision.
All in favor of Ms. Allen's motion to amend, raise your right hand.
I just want to make a comment on that. I felt like 10 million was a compromise, but certainly I don't like the 20 million. So to me, the board, the superintendent can come back to us for additional dollars. So I would support Katie in that endeavor on this motion.
Okay. Call for the question. All in favor of Ms. Allen's motion to amend, raise your right hand. All opposed? Her motion fails 2-3. All right.
So we're still on.
Excuse me. Got a motion on, let's talk about the motion to approve the final budget.
I have a discussion point for that motion.
It's up for discussion.
Okay. My discussion point on what is the need to make that transfer and approving this budget tonight versus doing it project by project. What is the argument that we must do it all in one lump sum tonight versus project by project throughout the fiscal year?
One thing is we don't have to listen to you as much.
Do you want to say that online?
I apologize. I apologize.
Mr. Casale, do you feel comfortable with this budget? You presented it, I'm assuming you worked with committees.
At the end of the day, the fund balance, as we discussed, is at the 20% area, and so I think that is something that most school districts wish they had.
Do you think 20 million, I'm assuming this is an estimation because the projects aren't done, do we foresee it being lower, do we foresee it being higher? I mean, will you come back with us, should there be any changes like always, and we will approve each one of these?
Well, not the tiny ones, but like the bigger ones, yeah, we would
So we
absolutely.
do have involvement on this 20 million.
By your policy, we would bring that bid.
Okay.
It's over $100,000.
So it's not like a rubber stamp, we'll give you $20 million, you do what you want.
No, we'll have to bring the actual things back to you.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of final approval of the proposed budget as recommended by our CFO as presented, please raise your right hand. All opposed? All right, the budget is approved 3-2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, board members, and let me thank Mr. Casado, our CFO, and his staff. As y'all know, pretty much everybody in the district puts a lot of work into this, all department heads, and goes all the way to the schools. So a lot of work does happen there. We understand some of the comments, so we'll continue to work in those areas. Moving forward, we're into board policies. We've had a board policy on the table, DCBI, public participation in board meetings. Unless there are any other questions for this, we would take this up for approval from the board this time.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so motion and second to approve board policy DCBI, public participation in board meetings. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Seeing none, that passes.
Thank you. As you know, we've also been working on board policy KG, use of school facilities. Our associate superintendent, Ms. Jackson, has been not only working with past policy for a number of years, but has helped us to update this as where we are today. As you know, this will sit on the table. We would love to get any input that you have, but I'd like to call on Ms. Jackson to take us through some of the changes to this policy, and then over the next couple of weeks, before we get to the next board meeting, if you have feedback, we'll make those changes and we'll bring it back to final approval. I'll also go ahead and just introduce the next item. Since she's already up here, at this time of year, we do need approval for the code of conduct, and she'll be going over the changes required at the state level. So thank you, Ms. Jackson.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
So policy KG on the use of school facilities, we did make a lot of changes, but we removed the fee description, and because it's in the procedure already, we should have done that back in 2024 when we reviewed this one, but all of that's listed in the procedure. We also removed the extended use section because we do not require organizations to show proof that they're building anymore. That was a thing of the past. For example, churches, we allow them to lease our facilities or rent them without having to show proof each year that they're working on a new facility. So we removed that. We did add applicable fees and insurance to the terms of the lease agreement so that it's reflected in the policy because we had moved it to procedure. We just wanted to list it so that it's there. And then we also, listed school by itself, and we added school district has priority over our facilities. So that kind of shows that if a middle school has something going on at the high school in the Performing Arts Center or the gym, that they would have priority over outside organizations if they've planned ahead of time, of course. And it's really all of the changes to KG, and we'll put that on the table for y'all to look at, and back in July, we'll ask for final approval of that policy change.
Can I ask you a question about the long-term rental or whatever? So if someone's not building, that's okay. You don't care. So church, if they wanted to, or someone to use the, would that be like with up warners and all that? That's just revolving, or do they have to do it each year?
Yes, ma'am. They do it each year, but we just no longer require them to show that they're building and show us the land agreement and all of that. So, all right, moving to the code of conduct. As we mentioned back in April, we wanted to wait for final approval until we were sure, as sure as we could be, of any changes in the law or from the state. We do have a couple of updates that I want to bring to you regarding the code of conduct, but before I do that, I just wanted to refresh your memory about the suggested updates we had back in April. And you received a copy of those suggested changes in April, and then you have it before you tonight. But although there were no actual changes to any state reportables back in April, we did changed the flow of information and the format of the code of conduct. And we highlighted some important code of conduct. We had a special section for some important areas such as bullying, attendance, threats, and we added that disciplinary records are required by House Bill 268 to be provided before we can enroll. We wanted to make sure that that was in there. We also added a bullet point on general regarding cameras being in use, as well as a new statement that we added. It's not a new law, but it's a new statement that we put in the Code of Conduct, which states that people other than students, to include parents, can be held accountable if they're abusive or insultive to school personnel. And you remember the example I gave was bus drivers. If a person, a stakeholder that's not a student obviously gets on the bus and is ugly to a bus driver or abusive in any way, in front of students, they can be held accountable by the law. So we added that. And so I'm going to now move to the two additions that we have made. This is in conjunction with House Bill 1009, which states that electronic devices must not be out or used during the school day for K through 8 students. And as you know, they've now expanded that for the next school year, 27-28, to high schools, which we've already done. But that state reportable, I won't read the entire thing, but you can see it's what we've been enforcing over the last year, and hats off to our schools. Our middle schools have been doing it, but our elementary, high schools, everyone really worked hard to get that message out about electronic devices. And when you talk to principals, it made a difference. And so we're glad that they've added this specifically for electronic devices. And then the only other addition is the attendance. We updated the procedure, and this was per our attendance and school climate protocol committee that we're required to have, to inform parents that upon the student's 10th unexcused absence, the school will send the parent or guardian a certified letter with return request. And that's per the request of juvenile court. They want, before they see a student for truancy, or even if they're over 16, if they're on that 10th absence, then we're going to send a certified letter and get that signature so that we can ensure that parents do indeed know that they're over that 10th unexcused absence. And we also absence. An intervention plan will be established through the MTSS process, and that's part of they do this anyway, but if attendance is an issue with a student and causing them to obviously miss a lot of instruction, but it could be even behavioral, that it's part of that MTSS process that we is all encompassing of the student's plan. So those are the only two additions we made. Sure.
On the attendance, is this like, I know that elementary school, I can understand it there, and middle school, some, but I guess high school classes in middle school now. As far as high school, is it per class? Because let's say you come in to your first 2 periods and then you leave. How is that going to be handled? As an individual, it's not the day, but it will be per class at that time?
It will, yes. It can. I mean, that's...
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
It does. Yes, and is it per class? Yes.
It will be per class. So after the third, if they miss second period 3 times,
yes,
right, it will be
absolutely. It goes into intervention, and that's difficult at the high school level because it is by period.
Right.
That's a great question. So,
Is that a state requirement for the third unexcused absence, or is that the district adding that?
they added that attendance has been hit hard at the state level, and so part of it is we had to upload our intervention plan, and they, at the third level, they do want notification to parents. We already did it at the 5th, and so the third, we didn't want that to be part of their intervention plan, and we had to submit that plan to the state just to show that it is part of something that the attendance, the Superior Court judge had to sign off on it too, that that's something that we are implementing an intervention plan at that third unexcused absence.
I'm going to say as a parent, Having kids in public school, that's one stomach flu right there. So I'm really not comfortable with that level of involvement based on a third unexcused absence, just because I think it's, I don't know, I think it's a lot for parents whose children are just sick, and I trust if a parent says my child's sick 3 days in a row, I trust that the
Well,
child's sick.
that would be an excused absence, so then that wouldn't come into play. But certainly with an intervention plan too, that could be something as simple as a phone call home to check on the student and to document that, okay, there is sickness here, maybe they're, forgot to turn the parent note in. But that is something that, is a focus, because it's just touching base at that third level. Because a lot of times when they get to that fifth level, when we were starting to notify, and then the intervention plan at the 8th, it's too late by then, because by the time the juvenile court gets involved, they're on up to 15 absences. So it's just an early way for us to flag, make sure that they're on our radar, so that we can make sure that we put everything in place to make sure they're successful. And if they call a parent like yourself, and they see that things are in place and it's not something that's neglect of any sort, I mean, they're going to make those adjustments. I mean, they're going to just note it, that they documented that they had that phone call with the parent, and go about their business until it becomes the 5th or the 8th or the 10th.
Just to clarify, I was always told that a parent excuse or note is still equals to 10 unexcused absences. That was that way for all of my children, and that unless you had a doctor's note saying they were sick, you writing an email as a parent was always considered an unexcused absence and counted towards your 10, is how it always works with my kids.
No, ma'am, that's,
Parent note is an excuse, right? You have a parent note, that's excused, right?
yes, you get 5 unexcused, I mean, I shouldn't say an excuse, you get 5 parent notes.
So go back.
And that's for that reason, because they may not always go to the doctor, so we allow those parents to write those notes.
These 10 unexcused absences are no contact from parents, no email, no nothing. It's just the kids aren't there. I'm trying to draw a distinction, because I thought they were the same thing, because you get 5 per semester of a parent note, correct, and beyond that?
Yes, I see what you're saying. Yes, ma'am, you're right.
Okay, so parent notes are 5 and 5 per semester. And that's different than this 10th unexcused absence?
Yes, when it becomes unexcused, where there has been no note, no doctor's excuse, no accountability whatsoever, then that's when these absences that are unexcused come into play.
They don't have to be sending out, they can be throughout the year, correct?
And even juvenile court, when they see kids for truancy at that 10th, they allow parents to bring in those notes, even to backdate them, if it's true, where it's a situation where they just didn't get that excuse on.
5 is more for exam exemptions, it's not. I mean, so, but this is, you said juvenile court.
Yes.
Okay. So my question is, who is paying for the certified letters?
Yeah, we've been doing certified letters, and it's just something that we've, at the school level, we send out those certified letters to make sure that we get that documentation. Because a lot of times, it's a lot of ways too, we find out, just as an example, if a kid's out of zone sometimes, those certified letters don't come back, or they aren't signed for.
And I'm going back to high school. Do we have, because I think that's where the burden falls on teachers or whoever's having to mark all this. Is there a way that, how do they submit it? Let's say Jonathan Baker was AP Cal 4 times, but it was random, so on that, well, 3 times. On that third one, is the teacher sending that in? Because I know when I volunteered in the high schools, it was.
It's all electronic.
Okay, that's what I was getting. It's a lot easier, right? Okay.
To take care of that, so.
That's what I was hoping, it wasn't going to get burden on someone having to keep up with that. Perfect.
Then I also would like to just take this time to mention a couple of items related to behaviors I have reflected on our previous code of conduct discussion back in April. We're planning some professional learning on student behavior for administrators and teachers during pre-planning. Topics will include best practices with classroom management and helpful tools on how to redirect students who are struggling in the area of behavior. We're going to emphasize communication of behavior expectations and support with both administrators and teachers. We recently met with admin and worked in groups to discuss and develop consistent consequences and redirection of behavior based on the code of conduct. Likewise, administrators will have conversations with teachers on how they can better support and communicate outcomes in the area of behavior. And just to give you an example, if a teacher turns in a discipline referral, or what we call a DR, and feels that the consequences should have been one way, and the administrator writes it up a different way, they're going to go and we're going to have those conversations, and we've been doing that, but we're just going to emphasize that role in communication to make sure that they're on the same team and they understand the outcome of those behavior expectations. We're also going to do our best to clear up any misunderstanding at the school level about how codes are selected for various discipline events, and that there should never be a misrepresentation of selected codes. So we'll make sure we talk with all of our teachers and our admin about that. As always, we want teachers to have the tools they need to be supported and successful in the classroom. At this time, I can answer any questions you may have, and we are seeking approval for the code of conduct to include the updates that I mentioned tonight.
Entertain a motion for approval of 2026 2027 elementary school code of conduct and middle and high school code of conduct.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would just like to amend that clause to maybe say the 5th day. I'm just not, I honor the intent of it, we got to find that balance, I think, of putting that burden on teachers. Kind of to Ms. Baker's point, somebody's going to have to monitor that, make those phone calls. And I think even bumping it from 3 to 5 just gives a little bit of some breathing room for both parents and administrators while still honoring the intent of it. So I would like to maybe amend that from the 3rd unexcused to the 5th unexcused. And again, having a daughter who was dual enrolled, there were so many times where classes just didn't coincide and my phone was constantly going off, but we had it all figured out. And it's not a fun thing to have to deal with as a parent. So if we can maybe find a balance, by amending that 3rd unexcused to 5th unexcused would give, I think, just a little more space.
I do want to mention too that the 3rd unexcused was there last year. It was, and what we do, thanks to our SIS team, our student information system, it automatically, the teachers aren't going to enter, it automatically, Infinite Campus notifies the parent of that 3rd. It's just a way of saying, hey, it's a 3rd unexcused absence. So it's a great way that teachers don't have to make that phone call. It's going to be more of those,
Just that automated.
And it emails, it does all the ways that they normally receive their communication, so it will notify them on that 3rd. So.
And you did say that this is a request that the juvenile justice, right?
Yes, and we met with the attendance and protocol committee, our team to meet with.
They have been more supportive than most
They have.
in helping us out.
Yes. Very, very appreciative. Thank you.
All in favor of approval of the code of conduct as presented, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? All right, that passes 4 to 1.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson, and that's something obviously all of our schools, assistant principals and principals deal with, as well as teachers in the classroom. So thank you for keeping that up to date. We're going to move on to the building program bid results. On March 26th, the Columbia County School District posted a request for proposal qualifications for construction management services for Greenbrier High School addition and renovation project. The advertisement was posted on the school district website as well as the Georgia Procurement website registry. The mandatory pre-proposal meeting was held on April 3rd and attended by 8 firms interested in responding, and the proposals were submitted on April 28th. 6 proposals were received, and of those, 5 were asked to participate. I'm going to turn this over to our Chief Facilities Officer to carry us through kind of the process. But I just want to say thank you to all the firms. When you have 5 firms that show up with this level of work, and provide as much information as they have, and you'll hear that through Mr. Beatty's comments. We have a very strong community of contractors and construction management service providers, so we really want to thank them and continue. We do have a lot of work continuing here, but we do have to make a selection. So, Mr. Beatty, thank you for all you're doing, and I'll let you carry us through kind of the process of this, but we would like to recommend approval at the conclusion of this.
Good evening. Seems like every time I pass by, I stay later and later. You know, we kind of got to work on that.
You can fix that, we'll be happy.
We can adjourn if if I can pull that off or did we get it? There you go. As Dr. Flint spoke about the Greenbrier High School project, you know, this is normal for them. Lakeside finishes up in the next 3 months, okay, and Evans later on next year. So when those projects are pressing right on there, did. Arlen just came out of the ground and it's kind of fast track. It's moving really well. You know, this thing got off to a kind of a rocky start in the beginning. It's really leveled itself out. The square foot costs are in line with what we're seeing across the community here, the buildings, and this Greenbrier High School, what we're estimating tonight is about $80,400,000, which is pretty much in line with what we have at home. So those are really good numbers. And where we stand today is that with your approval of the CMR, as they come on board, they're the fourth component in this. As you know, we have an architect already that you approved, construction management firm that you approved, of course the school district that you already approved, and now the CMR tonight, which is the fourth component, and this moves it forward to what we will present a little later on, and you know the process through Harlan, which will give us the GMP, and we'll have a project ready to go out to bid, and hopefully get started at the first of the year. You know. So with that, as Dr. Flint said, we had originally 6, one removed, and that left us with 5. The committee decided that they would interview all 5 of those, and which was really a wise move. They're all very good. They've done the process before with us. So when you get to the process, you know, the RFQ, they submit their qualifications. You evaluate that. They're all really good. They all met the qualifications. So we did an hour-and-a-half interview. The committee was made up, or the team as we call it, was made up of 4 members. There was 1 rep from the construction management firm, which is normal, and then there was 3 representatives from the school district. With that, we went through a whole day where we asked questions. They made their presentation, and at the end of the day, they were individually scored by each member. No one knew what the other one was doing. The data was compiled, turned over to the construction management firm. They compiled the data, submitted it back to me. I brought it to Dr. Flynn. We looked at it, and the highest rating on a scale of 100, the highest rating was Harold Gannon, and it is the rest of them come in order, but I think at this point it's only fair to say that tonight we're making a recommendation from the committee members and myself that we ask that y'all proceed with Harold Gannon as the CMR for the high school project. We take the next step and move forward. And if you have any questions, like I say, I have all night. I think that's the right choice, but I got to get everybody out of here a little early. Wrap this up. I have spaghetti on the dinner.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve Harold Daniel Construction as the CMR for Greenbrier High School.
Second.
Any discussion?
Square footage for that. I mean, I don't know if that's the right term for the 80 million plus. What is the research footage for that?
They're all running about the same, about 300,000 square feet, you know. And, you know, with the CMARC, that's the final component that we need so we can finalize all that's going to be done. You know, right now we're just into what we have to have, you know, Brooks is on board, Cliff's on board, Phoenix, we're all involved in this to say what we need, you know, so, you know, we're still a little ways out for that, but we're close.
What was the general question? Why was the CMAR chosen for this particular project? Why was that path chosen versus like a low bid or some other format?
Well, in this program that was started with the high schools, you know, it was decided way back in the beginning days, I guess 4 years ago now, that the route we would take would be to use construction management of this fund instead of any other type of bid process. And you know, there's several others in the design bid deals, you know, traditionally is probably the most popular of that, you know, but CMR adds kind of a different component to that. When you're with them, when you're opening the bids, when we have a bid, when bid day takes place, you know, I'm actually there to see what the bids are open and all this. If you did the design bid build, what would happen is we would just get a number. We'd have bid opening right here in this room. We'd see it for the first time. We wouldn't have that idea. And the other part of that component for them is that they're able to be involved in the question and the answer for the school district, you know, for the architect, where we can say, hey, is this the right thing to do? You know, can we do something here that makes it cheaper? You know, as far as the building process goes.
So it allows for more flexibility throughout the project?
Pretty much. I mean, you know, they're players, so they're with you from day one, you know, when they come on board at this point, you know, you move the process pretty quickly by leaps and bounds because the communication starts, you know. So it works itself out.
So the CMAR, we approved the CMAR tonight. Approximately what does that cost us out of the chute? And what does that get us? Architectural rendering, things like that. What is sort of the price tag on this first step on Greenbrier?
Well, the architect fee on this one is, I think it's $5.25, if I remember correctly. Roundabout, it's close, you know. And then the CMAR's budget, you know, and the exact percentage fee, you know, I can't tell you off the top of my head.
From our history, it's been 10, 15 million?
Total, when you're all said and done, when all the fees are done and you take all of that into account, and I'm talking about third-party inspections and all that's required, when that's all done, I always figured 11% of the top of the project, you know, and you just about covered it all. You're good to go, you know, from start to finish, trying to get the principal fees, and, you know, we move on to the next one.
I'm trying to do the math, so 8 million, 12, so you're paying about 12 million?
Probably, yeah.
13, all right?
Yeah, 11, something like that, yeah. Okay. Could be, you know, it kind of varies, but, you know, as it pans out, you got to remember that each one of these, you know, we just have an estimated number here. So their fee's going to be based on the end project. You know, if it actually came in less, obviously it would be, or if it's more, it's going to be the same thing. But that's true with every project that you do.
And then once we approve the CMAR, I just want to explain to the public and make sure it's known well to the board members, which I'm sure it is, that what's the time frame from approval of CMAR to when you actually go out and get all the bids and bring it back? Ballpark.
He's going to say he wants this done pretty quickly. I'm not the superintendent. And rightfully so, he should be. And I think we all know that the quicker we do this, probably September, no later than October, the quicker, you know, we get bid results, you know, from the partners that are going to be, the better price that we're going to get. We ain't talked about inflation, but it does vary in certain instances, especially HVAC and so forth. It's been on a roller coaster ride, so.
I'll monologue a little bit, but maybe Mr. Casada, we're talking about 80 million on this start. I'd like to get an idea of kind of where we end. That's important, particularly with the flexibility that's built into the CMAR model. So, like, for example, where do we start at Lakeside? Where do we start there? Where do we start at Evans? And where do we start at Harlem? Where are we now? So we can get an idea of where we're going to end up, because it won't be 80 million.
Right, so again, as Mr. Bates said, what that $80 million figure he gave is the guaranteed maximum price. So it'll include their fees, the general contractor's fees, but what it doesn't include are the architect's fees, it doesn't include the engineer's fees, third-party testing, any equipment we buy that's not in the contract, all of that. And so in the board reports, you know, we've already, during discussions about bonds, we talked about setting aside about $96 million for the Greenbrier High School project. That is all in, that's everybody's fees, equipment, furniture, everything included. So that ratio, and I mean, I have it exactly in front of me, is pretty close to what we've seen at Lakeside and Evans. It's this 11%, 15% above the GMP that you'll approve once. If this is approved tonight, they get their final bid numbers. Does that help? Does that answer your question?
Kind of, for you, thank you, I appreciate that.
And maybe Mr. Casado or Mr. Beatty, y'all remember when we were to this point, we did an estimate, and it is always kind of up in the air, but for Harlem, the actual price after the bids came back in less than the estimate. Remember, it was a couple $1 million less.
Yeah, it was
a
a little over $3 million.
That was really because of the design and how we were able to do that.
And you might have answered this, hold on, this is back, sorry about that. My sweet dad calls me every night at 7, so I have to make sure. Y'all wouldn't hear it ring me back there, but anyhow. Carol Daniel, they're the Lakeside.
Right, yeah.
Correct, you might have said that. So you're comfortable with what they've done? And
Yeah, absolutely.
you work well with them?
You know, all of the five, they're really outstanding contractors, you know, and they're really more than capable, you know, on any given day, you know, this particular company's,
I'm assuming you would bring them to us if you didn't work well with.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
One concern with this vote tonight is that Carol Daniel had scheduled to take the board and Dr. Flint, all of us out to dinner in Boulder and Savannah on June 7th. Had it not been, it was canceled the day prior, luckily, and full kudos to Mr. Kent for that. I appreciate it. That was the right thing to do. But it does create the appearance of a conflict of interest. And as you said, 5 firms, and Mr. B, this might even be outside of your knowledge area that this was planned, but 5 firms went through the process to bid. They put the paperwork in, they did the interview, and I think it does create the appearance of a conflict of interest that the firm who's being recommended was also the one scheduled to take the board out to dinner week before the vote. So I recommend postponing this vote until after review has been done to ensure the integrity of the RFQ selection process and that the code of silence clause was fully upheld.
Well, that's,
I'd like to point out that Ms. Allen mentioned that Carol Daniel is already a vendor of ours.
sure.
It is not uncommon for us to go out to eat with vendors, and that is allowed by law.
Not during active bid processes, that's
I
a,
was not aware of anyone who did. And Mr. Kent sent a letter, sent an email asking some questions, good questions, and, no, we're not found out that Carol Daniel was one of the bidders. I was like, you made a very good point. Cancel those dinners. You don't need to do that. And, we had a great dinner with Dr. Flynn. We had pizza. It was excellent. And, and I hope we can do it again, Dr. Flynn.
I will be abstaining due to those ethical concerns from this vote.
I was not at GSBA, sorry, I missed the guys, but,
I'd maybe make another comment, well, maybe first a question. Carol Daniel's gotten several of these. There certainly must be an advantage in the model we use and as to why Carol Daniel wins these. Yes, they check the boxes, they've done a great job here, but is there an advantage that Carol Daniel has when we build sort of back to back to back like this? Do they benefit from the resources, some economies of scale? There's certainly a reason why Carol keeps coming back, number one. I would just love to know.
Yeah, probably, and I'll try to explain that to you. When we built the first 2-story elementary school, we were only doing one, and only because we only had 9 acres to build on, and we had to go up. So the contractor that got that McDonald construction, when we didn't know them, okay, they just showed up on the bid day, they won, and then because they had built that school, they learned how to do it. Okay, then they got every elementary school after. Once you learn and figure out, you do have an inside advantage just because you've done the previous work. And, you know, these are the sister schools that follow the same type of format, especially when you talk about the three older ones, you know. Greenbrier being our second oldest, which opened in '96, and you're right, I think opened. Yeah, so you do have that, you know, and it works to your advantage to some degree. I mean, not to us that are evaluating, but to them how they present and what takes place.
Yeah, that's six. I know, keep talking. I'll be quiet here in a second, I swear. But this is pretty important to me, obviously. That sixth person, can you give some information as to what happened with that sixth?
Yeah, they
Person that submitted why they didn't make it or what happened there?
actually, all I was told, which is all I asked, was that they withdrew. Why did they do it? They withdrew because they felt like they weren't qualified to do what we asked for. And I didn't pursue any more than that. I didn't really think it was mine or the school district's business to question a company why they've done something. That's not good business on my part.
That was in the mid part of it or towards the end?
At the very beginning.
At the very beginning?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
They never went through any process. They withdrew right away.
I guess my final thing, again, I will be quiet. We need to do this project. Obviously, you've heard me say that I'd like to have a slight pause, a very slight pause to accumulate more dollars into our fund. I think it makes financial sense, being fiscally conservative, being fiscally responsible. So I would be fine voting for the CMR, knowing that we need to do this project, but I would really press upon the rest of the board members to consider when the bids come in, sounds like 3 months, 2-3 months they come in, we really consider the timing, to maybe consider pushing it out, the timeline out just a bit, when that time comes.
I believe the money is in the bank, correct? Bonds have been sold, and we're funded for this.
But we gain dollars every year, so we have to think about what we get out of SLOSS, and we're digging into the future SLOSS. So everybody has to know that and understand that. I think we all agree on it.
Okay, well, any other comments?
Another comment, the matrix selection process, we're not going with the low bidder, correct? It's a point system by the raters that's rather arbitrary based on how the rater gives points to each contender, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So there's no standard rating process or necessarily point chart, it's just a collection of individuals who watch these interviews, have a score sheet, they score these individuals and those scores are added up to create the selection.
Correct, yeah. And they're all going to keep in mind that the other part of that is that the folks that were on the evaluation committee, they did all of this privately. You know, my role in this has always been just to be available to them if they have any questions so that we can discuss privately without anybody else involved but the employees of the school district. And it is, I know you kind of look at this and you might think that it's a little subjective and all like this, but when you start compiling and you start looking at these contractors, all of them, you know, you see the quality in each and every one of them. It gets down to a pretty tough decision.
So there's no point distribution guide on this matrix?
Yeah, there's a point system that's assigned to each category.
So it's a rubric?
That's
So
right.
it's out. So it's not just arbitrary?
No, they just don't say, you just want to make it or something like that.
Is there a rubric or are there categories? No, there are categories.
Well, that would kind of fall in the same category. You got to have your rubric and your category to answer to.
Not where, I'm thinking of a rubric as a, when I write a college paper, it has different categories that I'm being rated on, and then it has different point
Yeah,
scales.
there's a value for each one of those categories. There's a value to them, and then each member decides what that is, So, and typically right off the end of the bat, the fee is the strongest number because that's where the most money is being spent. That is what you're charging to do this job. And then the other components just not one.
Mr. Beatty, was this the firm you're recommending the lowest fees also?
Yes, they were.
And just to clarify the process, once the CMR is collected, then they do all the work and produce the GMP, which becomes the budget for the project, correct?
That's correct.
So once you choose your CMR, they come back and present to you, here's the cost of the project.
Right. But the work really starts now is with the school district and the architect, where we're seeing what's needed, what we're going to do, and the pieces of the puzzle all hang together. And then the next thing we'll have the percentage GMP that's fixed in stone for so it's just one step further down the road.
Okay, all in favor of approving Carol Daniel as
Excuse me just a second, Mr.
Yes, sir.
I want to clarify something. I know that you know, think that that's come up, but just so this is clear for everybody. You're the documents. They were given to me on June the 6th. I don't know when they were going to dinner or supper, whatever it is. They've been in my possession. Okay, nobody's had access to them, but they've been hid away until tonight. If you have any questions, if not,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
All in favor of the motion approving Carol Daniel as the CMR on Greenbrier High School, please raise your hand. All opposed? That passes 4, one abstention.
One abstention.
Thank you, board members. All very good questions. We'll move into superintendent reports. Just a couple of items, and we'll be finished with our presentation. An important reminder that existing student registration for new and existing students is now open for the 26-27 school year. We require this process annually for parents of students who were enrolled last year and are planning to return. We ask that parents take a brief moment before the first day of school to confirm or update student information, such as changing or confirming contacts, updating any residency changes, among other important information. Our student information team, as usual, will be available by appointment for any parents who need assistance completing that registration if they have any trouble. Summer school is currently underway at Grovetown High School. It's going extremely well. Just a reminder, the summer school graduation is scheduled for Thursday, June 25th at 5 o'clock at the Columbia County Performing Arts Center. We're excited to hold that there, and we're also looking forward to future years where we're going to be able to use our own Performing Arts Centers for this graduation. So that'll be an exciting change for next summer. We look forward to celebrating with our students and congratulate all of them. A lot of great hard work. The rest of the items on the agenda are dates of events. If you have any questions, if you don't, that completes our portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Flint. Next on our agenda is public participation. This evening we have 7 speakers who submitted requests. Each speaker will be allowed up to 3 minutes to address the board. Ms. Beasley, we need our time, please.
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
All right, our first speaker this evening is Ms. Priscilla Vance. Stating board policy BCBI, public participation in board meetings, we ask that you provide your intended comments while refraining from using non-board remarks. We also ask that the audience show proper decorum by listening respectfully of any action or comments that may distract the speaker's time. Good evening, Ms. Vance. Is the microphone on?
Is it on now? Oh. Do I stand now? Do I stand up?
That's perfect.
Can you hear me? My husband says lean in. Do I believe y'all are? Okay, I'll just spend a minute. Okay, my big concern this year, last year I came a couple times because of the sexually explicit books in high school libraries. And those 32 books are still there, nothing changed. But then I got to wondering, do the parents know? I know y'all have the opt-out form now, but do the parents know what they need to opt out of? And I became concerned that they're not educated, especially after these SCOTUS last summer. You know, there was the Mahmood versus Taylor, where parents have the right to opt out. Are they being told what's available to them? They have sex education capability of opt-out with the opt-out form, but that sex education should also include the books in the library the sexually explicit materials, and we know of 32, which means there's at least twice that number because not very many were reviewed. But parents need to be told up front when they enroll that there's sexually explicit material in the library, and they need to be told that this is their right to opt out of it instead of it after the fact. Right now, you're following the law according to the word, the letter, but not the intent of the law. The intent of the law is to protect children and parents from being exposed to this material unknowingly. So let's put it up at the enrollment phase. I got curious about the enrollment process, and I don't see a policy on that. I don't see where you can get a paper copy, and I talked to Mr. Kent because I just happened to run into him, and he got Ms. Gregg to call me. Ms. Gregg called me and explained that it's all online. Everything's online. And I would beg you to reconsider that, because I know 5 people, and probably more than that, that are not computer savvy. They don't even have a computer. They drove a bus for Columbia County for 30 years. One's a big machine operator. I can list the other 3. But you get the picture. You're marginalizing people who don't have computers, or they're moving in the Army and they haven't had time to set it up. So we need to be able to put our hands on an enrollment packet, on the admission packet, or whatever you call it. There is no such thing. Right now, Ms. Gregg has said that she will get screenshots of the enrollment packet, so I'll get to see it. But how many parents are going to want to go through all that? You should be able to look at it and read it. It's very involved enrollment, and a lot of different links and screenshots are required. We need to be able to protect parents and children by telling them up front, this is what's in the library. This is the sex education that's offered. They're not in a shelf for mature audience. There's no protection once the child goes in the library. And the idea now, Ms. Gregg said, is to text the parent. If the parent has said that they want to be notified, they will be notified that the child has checked out these books. But that could be too late. You're emailed, and you check your email the next day. The kid's already checked out 10 books like this, and they've read one of them. That's after the fact. We need to tell parents ahead of the fact.
Thank you, Ms. Spence. Our next, our next speaker is Trini Bennett.
Good evening. My name is Trini Bennett, and I'm a Greenbrier High School parent. I'm here tonight because I am concerned about what I'm hearing regarding the potential delay to the building improvements our community voted for and funded for Greenbrier High School. To the board members tonight that are voting to move the projects forward, thank you so much. We appreciate your commitment to Columbia County and our students. And to the others on the board, I hope that you will hear the words of the residents that voted for these projects and those that continue to support investing in our young people. Allow me a few minutes to address my concerns regarding financial stewardship. You have recognized this evening that Columbia County voters decisively approved this East West. Greenbrier High School was on the list of improvements. The voters said yes, and our tax dollars funded it. Following that vote, the board issued bonds backed by East West. The money is not pending, it is raised, it is allocated, and it is legally restricted to those approved projects. There is no funding gap, there is no financial excuse for delay. In fact, delaying construction would not be a neutral decision, it is a costly one. Construction costs continue to escalate in the current environment. Significant delays can drive project costs up by as much as 10 to 20%. That means the community's approved dollars buy less. The scope of what gets built shrinks, or the board comes back asking for more money for this purpose. Sitting on approved, bonded funds while costs climb is not prudent management. It is financially short-sighted. The longer this board waits, the more of our community's money evaporates before a shovel hits the ground. Other Columbia County high schools are already benefiting from what voters approved. It is not acceptable to leave the other schools behind. East Block resolutions are legally binding under Georgia law. The Greenbrier community held up its end of East Blast. We voted yes. We committed to funding this. If this and other East Blast projects are tabled, the costs climb and our kids wait while other schools move forward. I'm asking this board to set a firm timeline for completing these improvements. without further delay. The vote was clear, the funding is in place. I ask each of you to honor the promise this board made to our community. Thank you.
Next speaker is Ms. Janet Duggan.
Good evening. I want to talk about the budget a little bit. I want to look at the FY26, and I know it's been already approved, but these are questions that I would like the board members to ask and get answers for and to share with the public. The beginning budget was 105 million, the beginning fund balance, was 105 million in the beginning of FY26, with a budget to end with 103.8. That's a net loss of 1.2 million. However, the beginning of the FY27 proposed budget that we voted on today had a beginning balance of 126 million. That 126 beginning balance is the same as the ending balance for 2026. That's $21 million more than what was budgeted. Now, last year in the budget time, there was great discussion as to why the fund balance was either increasing drastically, $21 million this year, or when it wasn't and we didn't see an increase, it was because there was a transfer to the building program of anywhere from $10 to $26 million. So my question is, why are we budgeting and having a $21+ million surplus in the general fund? The other question that I have is, what are those things specifically? Is that increased revenue that we're receiving? Is that increased state funds? Is it increased federal funds? Is it increased local funds than we budgeted? And why are we off by such a great number? I recall Mr. Casado saying, you know, there are certain things that can fluctuate, and he threw out the $10 million number. But we're talking $21 million. Some years we're talking up to $30 million. That's a huge difference. When making budget decisions like this, that's information that you need to be aware of as a board. One would hope that you would be aware of that and know that in making your decision. Or are we spending $21 million less in expenses than we anticipated? So those questions I've not heard discussed. I've not heard answers to those. And I think that's important, and I'm disappointed that those issues were not discussed and addressed prior to your vote. I want to point out that that $21 million, based on the current mill, from what I learned at the last meeting, equates to about, what is it here, 2 point something, maybe 2.5 mils. That's 2.5 mils. Now, you did a full rollback last year, and still at a $21 million surplus. So with your vote today for adding the 20 million transfer, adding all of that, I would not expect to hear that you need to raise the millage rate or not do a full rollback, or even better than that when it comes time to address the millage rate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Renee Gannon.
Good evening. My name is Renee Gannon. I'm here tonight as a parent, a supporter of the Greenbrier High School Theater Program, and a representative of that group. My family has supported Greenbrier Theater for more than 8 years while my children have performed on the stage. And during that time, I've watched the program grow, achieve remarkable success, and positively impact hundreds of students, and watched our facility struggle to keep up with that pace and growth. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the challenges the district has faced over the last several years. We've all worked through COVID, a major hurricane, rising costs, and financial pressures, and we appreciate that struggle. However, we understand the difficult decisions that come with balancing priorities and budgets. We are thanking you tonight for not delaying our planned theater improvements at Greenbrier High School, as well as the other improvements to the school. For years, our students, parents, and teachers have been told these improvements were coming, and we have waited patiently. Greenbrier was identified as part of the district's long-range facility plan because a need already exists. It's not a request or a new luxury or an extra amenity. It's a request to move forward with a project that has already been recognized as a necessity. Greenbrier's theater program is one of the most successful programs in the district. Our students have earned multiple award nominations, won in multiple categories, and achieved success that has brought recognition to both Greenbrier and Columbia County. We represent you and this community with excellence, both on and off the stage. More importantly, the program provides a place where hundreds of students find belonging, confidence, leadership skills, and opportunities to grow. And yet, while the program has continued to improve, the facility has not, and that is now beginning to hurt us. Many of our students are pursuing theater technical careers, film, and related arts as college majors and future careers. And they are competing for the opportunities alongside these students from programs with modern facilities, updated technology, and learning environments designed to prepare them for the next level. By delaying the improvements, we are underselling our students and placing them at a disadvantage against their peers. Our students have talent, work ethic, determination to succeed, and we should provide them with a facility that supports those aspirations. The reality is our students are being asked to achieve at a high level in a theater that no longer supports the needs of growing award-winning program. And every year we wait, the gap widens between what our students are capable of accomplishing and what their facility allows them to do. The concern is not simply that the progress will stop. The concern is that we're already beginning to fall behind. Students deserve facilities that match the quality of the education and programs that Columbia County is known for providing. I respectfully ask you to keep these improvements moving forward as planned. Our students have waited patiently, our families have supported the district's vision, and the need has not decreased with time, it's only become more urgent. Our students have already proven what they can accomplish. Imagine what they could do if the facility finally matched their talent. Please continue investing in our students who work tirelessly to represent Greenbrier, Columbia County, and you with pride. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Ms. Karen Warner.
Busy day of speeches for me. Okay. Good evening. So first I want to briefly address the building program. Both Greenbrier High School and Harlem High School are already over capacity. That problem is not going to solve itself with more time, and I don't see any reason to believe the cost of needed renovations will be meaningfully reduced by delaying them. The community voted in favor of this building program. It seems inherently unfair to complete renovations and improvements at the first two high schools, and then pause or delay similar improvements for the next two schools. Students at Harlem and Greenbrier deserve the same investment in their schools that students at Evans and Lakeside have received. I also hope the board will carefully consider any proposal to reduce the performing arts facilities. As a thespian myself, I know firsthand how important those programs can be for students. They teach leadership, teamwork, creativity, and confidence while creating a sense of belonging for students who may not find it elsewhere. Second, I want to address the Science of Suicide program. After the May meeting, I contacted district staff with questions about the removal of a facilitator note from the program. I was told the note was removed because the district did not want to single out a particular scenario and believed removing it would provide better support for all students. I reviewed the note myself, and I still struggle to understand that rationale. The note acknowledged that some students may be struggling with issues related to sexual orientation or gender identity and provided information about available resources. One concern raised during the board's discussion was that the note directed students away from parents. I did not read it that way. What I saw was guidance recognizing that some students may be facing challenges that contribute to a mental health crisis and information about where they can find help. Parents who objected to the program already had a remedy available to them. They could opt their own children out. What I have not heard explained is why that was insufficient, or how removing information from the program for all participating students improves student safety or support. The reality is that not every student feels safe discussing these issues at home. Some students fear rejection, some fear being thrown out of their home, and some fear emotional or physical harm from their parents. These students are part of our community, regardless of any single board member's personal beliefs. I also heard concerns from educators and from a parent who lost a child to suicide that the subject may be better suited to be for trained mental health professionals. Student mental health is complex, and I hope the district will consider if the program would be better served by licensed mental health providers facilitating these discussions rather than our classroom teachers. Thank you for your time.
The next speaker tonight is Ms. Stephanie T.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Teague, and I'm a parent of a rising senior at Greenbrier High School, as well as a parent of a 2023 alum. Tonight, I'm representing the Greenbrier High School Band Boosters. I've been involved with the organization for 7 years, as both of my children have participated in the marching band and concert band. I served the Boosters organization as a volunteer and a member of the executive board. And I have seen sustained growth in our program each and every year. And I think this speaks to the strength and appeal of our band community and the value that families see in participating in our program. This fall, we expect well over 200 students to participate. These numbers continue the upward path of the band's growth, and is the highest number that we've seen since 2005. We have never needed an upgraded facility more than we need now. So let me tell you a little bit about our current facility. With last year's enrollment, which was about 30 fewer than what we have this year, or for this fall, our band students have trouble fitting on the stage for concerts. It's become a safety hazard as they move the chairs and the stands, and this will only continue to be a problem as we see continued increased enrollment. The auditorium itself cannot fit all of our parents. When they attend every concert, there's often standing room only. This fall, an additional band class has been added to the schedule because our band room simply cannot accommodate the large number of students in one class period. Again, we've never needed an upgraded facility more than we need now. So I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for voting for the budget and for approving the bid, and so that we can continue to move forward without delay. So I thank you for listening to the concerns and doing what you've been voted to do. So let me take this opportunity also to say thank you for serving our students and our county and for allowing me to speak to you this evening. Again, thank you.
Thank you. And our last speaker is Ms. Lorraine Thomas.
Good evening, my name is Lorraine Thomas. Spoken with teachers in Columbia County who've expressed concerns about shortages in special education staffing, increasing workloads, high student-to-teacher ratios, burnout, lack of funding for classroom necessities, and difficulty retaining qualified teachers. My question is, what is Columbia County's greatest barriers to recruiting and retaining special education teachers? How many special education positions are currently vacant? What barriers prevent paraprofessionals from becoming certified teachers? What steps is the board taking to ensure Columbia County remains competitive in recruiting and retaining special education teachers and paraprofessionals, particularly when other trades and locations may be offering higher pay? And what state-level support would make the biggest difference in bringing relief to these areas? Those are my questions. Thank you very much.
So that concludes public participation.
Motion to declare executive session is done permanently on real estate matters. Anything else that we can add to that?
Just one more.
And a disciplinary appeal.
Second. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the board will retire to executive session. And we will come back. We'll take a 5-minute break. Thank you.
The chairman be directed to execute an affidavit in accordance with state law affirming that. Make a motion that the chairman be directed to execute an affidavit in accordance with state law affirming that no subject was discussed during the executive session that violated the open meeting law of the state of Georgia.
Second.
All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Make the motion that the.
Wait, abstaining, I was not present
Sorry.
the whole session.
Yeah, did you get that, Ms. Moody? 4 in favor, 1 abstention.
All right. I make the motion that the personnel sheet as discussed at executive session be approved.
Second.
All in favor, raise your
Is
right
there a
hand.
discussion on this? Point of clarification, are there any contracts involved, or is it just this sheet?
I'm getting to that one right now.
Okay, just this sheet?
Correct, just that
Okay.
sheet.
Personnel sheet.
Personnel sheet. That's
Okay.
correct. I make a,
Did we vote on that?
Not yet.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
Sorry.
All right, that's unanimous.
Make a motion that we approve the decision made in executive session regarding the discipline appeal.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? All right, 4-1.
Your turn.
All right, and at this time, I make a motion that we approve the superintendent's contract as discussed in executive session.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed?
Abstaining.
All right.
One abstention.
3-1 with one abstention.
Due to the integrity of the process.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. We're adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all so much.